Yo guys, what's going on? Robert Warshack here, and we have quite the Hearthstone news today. As we know, the beginning of the new year comes a new expansion, which then brings the new season, the new cycle. The core set moves out, some cards move in, older sets leave, new sets come. So really exciting stuff coming in Hearthstone. Probably the best time to play entering in the next month. So first things first, we have the year of, I believe, the Raptor. Don't tell anybody, I'm recording this a little bit before the announcement, so I have my notes over here on the side. So we have the year of the Raptor, which will of course bring new expansions, core set rotations, and all kinds of good stuff. So we'll broad stroke all of the what news is happening, and then we'll move into the year of the Raptor core set update, which is the most important, juiciest part of this. So first things first, we have Hearthstone esports is back in 2025. The past couple of years on Hearthstone esports has been absolutely brutal. We finally moved out of the YouTube era. That deal's contract wrapped up, and now Hearthstone esports has moved back to Twitch. Surprising, the audience was still there. The numbers on Hearthstone esports are good. The past couple events they've had have been great. The viewership is definitely there, but it's really honestly important that there is an esports side to the game. Drives, in my opinion, a lot of people that play it and want to do better, to get better, in the hopes that one day they will compete in a tournament. So it's good that they're going to be expanding on that this year. We actually got a new esports program lead, which is TJ Sanders, which if you've watched any of the esports, he's one of the casters, so him spearheading that should be good. We have timing and roadmap updates. So we have Into the Emerald Dream as our next Hearthstone expansion. I don't really know too much about that yet, but I'm sure it will be to come. Also, they're bringing back the pre-release Tavern Brawl for the In the Emerald Dream, and this is planned for all 3 expansions this year. From what we gathered last time, the Tavern Brawl for the new expansion before it comes out, so you can start collecting cards and get stuff, seemed to be really good. A lot of people enjoyed it, so they're bringing that back. Moving to the juiciest part here, which will be the Year of the Raptor core set update. I'll be scrolling down here so I don't get anything in the way. So we have, for Death Knight, cards that are leaving are on the left, and then new cards that are coming is on the right. So between cards that we've seen before, cards that we haven't seen before, they've also made adjustments on like mana and attack. So some cards are coming back in, but they're stronger than what they used to be, so you'll see that. So Death Knight's losing Scourge, Grain, Soul Stealer, Might of Menthol, Corpse Bride, and the Noxious. I guess Soul Stealer, Might of Menthol, and Scourge are kind of the only important ones here. No one even plays Scourge, it's just really randomly generated. But we do have a new Death Knight legendary here for double undead, and that's going to be you gain twice as many corpse than normal. Battle Cry, draw a card that spends corpses for 3 mana. That seems obviously pretty good. So, however, it's locked behind the double unholy, which in my opinion, the rune system for Death Knight is inherently broken. It like totally messes up the ability to play with like cards. So like there's certain cards that just won't see play because the runes don't support that. So like it's it's already hard enough to kind of build decks with like weird and unique cards sometimes, but with Death Knight having the rune system, it makes it even like more tough because it pigeonholes you into like, oh, you have to play these cards now, and then you don't really have a lot of opportunity to explore. Tomb Guardians is coming back, we know that's good. Death Metal Knight is garbage. Death Chiller was one of my favorite Frost cards, so that's pretty exciting. The 2 mana 2/3 elemental, after you cast a spell, deal 1 damage to 2 random enemies. We had a lot of fun with Frost DK on that one. We have a 2 mana Poison Breath, give a friendly undead poisonous. This seems pretty bad. And then we have Maleficent Horror, which we've seen a lot of crazy stuff in the past with that card, with buffs and the ability for it to split if you spend corpses, and the fact that it had Reborn. So definitely a Death Knight card, definitely pretty powerful. For Demon Hunter, we're only getting 4 changes on that. So Meta is out, Expendable Performers is out, Coordinated Strikes is out, Umber Wing is out, The Incredible is back in. This is a 5 mana 6/4 Battle Cry. Copy the left and rightmost cards in your hand. It really never saw play back in the day. We have Princess of Fury, the 7 mana 6/7. At the end of your turn, deal 6 damage, randomly split among all enemies. For some reason, I thought she used to do like 7 or 8. What's crazy is like, if this is how she is now, she still doesn't see play. And if this is what got nerfed before, that's pretty insane power spike. We have the 1 mana Tusk Piercer, Death Rattle, draw a Death Rattle minion. So it's a 1 mana 1/2 that just draws a minion after 2 attacks. And then we have the Fell Rattler, which was a really popular Death Knight card. That's a 3 mana 3/2 Death Rattle, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. Druid's Living Sonaris doesn't matter. Ancient Lore doesn't matter. Spellstone doesn't matter. Druid of the Claw doesn't matter. It is getting Fandral. This is huge. Squirrel, that's a pretty important card. Best in Shell doesn't really matter. Flipper and Friends was actually seen seen a little bit in quite a few Druid decks there at the end, the choose one Druid. It was like literally called Flipper Druid. So do the flippers and then you'd buff them up or attack with them the following turn if they didn't clear it. And for 5 mana, it's pretty good deal. Maybe it was called Aquatic Druid. I don't know. It was like Water Druid. There was quite a few really crazy decks towards the end of some of these cards' life, just because of the power level in cards. There was so many. So Hunter's losing Dragon Blade, doesn't see play. High Main doesn't see play. Spellstone doesn't see play. Kill Command doesn't see play. We're getting it back in Dragons. Okay, that's pretty insane. We're getting Varanus again. Change the health of all enemy minions to 1. We have the Terrastel Stalker, Battlecry trigger a friendly minion's death rattle. All right, so this is kind of crazy for 2 mana. So this is the, for those of you familiar with the meta right now, Zerg DK, you know, the 4 mana card that triggers the death rattle twice. Yeah, so this is half the mana cost. Granted, it's only once, but it's half the mana cost, and it's a 2/3. So Terrascale, yeah, that's a good card. Mama Bear is back. 7 mana, 5/6 taunt, death rattle, summon 2/4 cubs with taunt. This was pretty crazy back in the day. I don't know if Mama Bear decks are gonna be good, but Mama Bear was good when she was in standard. Wound Prey, the 1 mana deal 1, summon a 1/1 hyena with rush. This card is good. Moving to Mage, we are losing out on Luna, doesn't see play. Book doesn't see play. Arcanologist doesn't see play. Shooting Star doesn't see play. We're replacing those with Antonitis. Interesting. We got a Babbling Bookcase. It's a 3 mana 2/4 battle cry. Add 2 random mage spells to your hand instead of 1, because we're losing Babbling Book, but we're getting the Babbling Bookcase. Probably still won't see play. The 1 mana 2/1 Violet Spellwing, death rattle, and a Arcane Missiles spell to your hand. That's probably not terrible as a 1 mana 2/1 elemental. And it adds something to your hand. And then Oasis Ally is a secret that we used to have. It is when a friendly minion is attacked, summon a 3/6 water elemental. Oasis Ally was pretty annoying back in the day. Not as annoying as Objection, but Oasis Ally still wasn't a terrible secret. However, it requires your opponent to have to want to attack your minions. And if your opponent's just going face, are there a control deck? Well, it doesn't really do anything anyway. Moving on over to Paladin. Lady Leandrin is leaving. No one played her. Hammer, no one played it. War Trainer, no one played it. Stand Against Darkness, no one played it. We are getting the Dragon, the 7 mana 8/8. Send all other minions 2 turns into the future. This was pretty big for control Paladin back in the day. Really annoying, and allowed you to like set up boards and just like be obnoxious. So good card. Under Angling Rod, obviously a very good card for any sort of Murloc Highlander deck, because it just like, it's a 3 mana 3/2, kill 2 cards, get 2 Murlocs. We have the Red Scale Dragon Tamer, 2 mana 2/3 death rattle, draw a dragon. So Murloc cards are coming back, dragon cards are coming back. Okay, we got a 7 mana stone, and this was summon a 4/8, a 2/4, and a 1/2 elemental with taunt, and it's a holy card. Did see play in Control Paladin, I think, or like Highlander. I know the stone was in a Paladin deck where it has left us. So Priest, they're losing out on Morte, doesn't matter. Geo doesn't matter. Clergy is seeing play right now in Aggro Priest. Don't really care about that. Glad for it to be gone. Spellstone, never was a fan of Red's Priest. Get it out of here. Shadow Word Pain doesn't see play. And so Natalie's coming. This only saw play in decks that would randomly create her, like Galakron Priest. A Light Show Elemental was actually found in Priest and seemed pretty good. Greater Healing Potion, no. Spirit Guide was actually played in quite a few decks. The 5 mana 5/5 Undead, Taunt, Death Rattle, draw a Holy Spell and a Shadow Spell. So it's a 5 mana 5/5 Taunt that draws 2 cards. And then we have Power Word Shield, which is a 1 mana, give a minion 2 health, draw a card. Obviously a very, very good card. Rogue is losing out on Flick. No one plays it. Strider, no one plays it. Cutlass, this is sad. I love Cutlass, but no one plays it. Minstrel was only found in like Quiznos Rogue for a very short period of time. Sap, no one plays it. It's crazy that no one plays Sap, dude, or Minstrel in today's world. We are getting Shaku the Collector, more of a meme card, but it looks like he got buffed because before he was a 2 mana 2/3, and now he's a 3 mana 2/4. He has Stealth, and whenever he attacks, add a random card to your hand from your opponent's class. Obviously good in random rogue. The fact that he has stealth and 4 HP is huge. Woggle Pick, dude. 4 mana 4/2 weapon, death rattle, return a friendly minion to your hand. It costs 2 less. So this is a 4/2 pick that has a built-in shadow step. This card is very good back in the day. We have the Undercity Huckster, the 2 mana 2/3 death rattle, get a random card from your opponent's class. Defias Ringleader, 2 mana 3/2 combo, summon a 2/1 Defias Bandit. So combo decks and aggro decks get on the board. It's a 2 mana, basically summon 5 attack. And then we have Foxy, which is a 2 mana 3/2 battle cry. Your next combo card this turn costs 2 less. So it's basically a 0 mana 3/2 that can combo like a Ringleader. So you can go like Coin, Foxy, Ringleader. You just put 8 damage and 3 minions on turn 1. All right, taking a look at Shaman. What is Shaman getting? We are losing Calamos, doesn't see play. Overdraft, doesn't see play. Thing from Below, doesn't see play. Muck Pools saw play for a little bit. Currently doesn't see play. Air Elemental doesn't see play. Spirit Claws doesn't see play unless you're playing the Nature Shaman that wants to go face. Ancestral Knowledge, again, Nature Shaman doesn't see play. What the hell? These are good cards, and it's crazy that none of this just sees play. We're getting Frog. That was like back when Quest Shaman was a thing, and your spells would cast twice. You could play Frog, but yeah, it's very slow, very value oriented. Battlecry, return all spells you played last turn to your hand. Earth Elemental, 5 mana, 7/9, Taunt, Overload 2. The Water Speaker, which was actually found back in the day again. So Battlecry, restore 6 health, is a 4 mana, 4/6. Blazing Invocation is a 1 mana, discover a Battlecry minion. It costs 1 less. We have the Volcanic Burst, which is actually a card that was found in old Aggro Overload Shaman. It's a 1 mana, summon 2/1/1 Sparks with Rush, Overload 1. In this meta, just a 1 mana, summon 2/1/1 Sparks with Rush is just like good, pretty much. Like, that's fine, but the Overload one is terrible. Like, this card is I don't know how much Overload synergy there'll be, but yeah, as is, this is like 2 mana for 2/1/1s with Rush, and that's not good enough at all. We have the Marsh Spawn, which is a 3 mana 3/4 Battlecry. If you cast a spell last turn, discover a spell, which is pretty okay, but you know, nothing too crazy. And then the 1 mana 1/3, after you play an elemental, gain +1 attack. So pretty aggressive elemental 1/3 here, very similar to old Arcane Worm, if you remember that guy, but for elemental minions. Heading on over to the Warlock, we're losing Rafam, no one plays it, and Twisting Nether. I cannot tell you how many times I played Twisting Nether and people didn't realize that they upgraded the text on it. Says to destroy all minions and locations. And they'd be like, how long did it destroy locations? I'm like, a long time, like a year or two. And they're like, no way. Fellstone, no one played it. Defile somehow doesn't even see play. Voidwalker and Bloodhound Imp. So the only card that really even maybe potentially sees plays here is maybe Defile, and then maybe Twisting Nether if it comes from the gift. Cards we're getting, the Solarium. It's a 1 mana, draw 3 cards. They are temporary. Dreadlord, which was always a cool card, the 5 mana. I think he was a 4/5, but he's a 4/6 now. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. I remember this going face, I swear. I guess it's only minions now. The Dark Peddler, the 2 mana 2/3 Battlecry, discover a 1-cost card. The Homunculus, the 2 mana 2/4, deal 2 damage to your hero, but he's a 2/4 with taunt for 2. We have the Fiendish Servant, the 1 mana 2/1 Death Rattle, give this minion's attack to a random friendly minion. And the Demonic Assault, the 4 mana, deal 3, summon 2 1/3 Void Walkers with taunt. So Warlock getting a lot of demons, and it's losing a lot of like spells, but it's not really that big of a deal. Nothing too crazy there. For Warrior, though, Warrior could be a little interesting. We're losing Deathwing, no one plays it. Town Crier, no one plays it. Bladestorm does see play. Big AoE card in the early game. Sad to see that go. Frightened Flunky, no one plays that. And then Whirlwind, no one plays that. We're getting Bulwark of Azeroth back. What a juicy control card. So this is whenever your hero would take damage, this loses 1 durability instead. This was really good against OTK decks, or if your opponent's deck revolves around hitting you in the face for large quantities of damage. So looking at like Odin Warrior, you could look at like Demon Hunter. There's quite a few decks that just want to smash you with a big weapon, or like a big minion, or like a big OTK, and if a good Bulwark will just absolutely annihilate them. Looking at the Brave, this used to be a good card. I don't know anymore. The 4 mana 2/6 taunt has +3 attack while damaged, so it turns into a 4 mana 5/6 with taunt. However, it has to be damaged. We are currently in a meta where things are dying, dude. There's very little times at which when you play a minion, it sticks around. You know what I mean? You're playing minions, and if your opponent doesn't remove it, you're winning the game. And if they do remove it, you're going back and forth until one of you makes a giant board that the other person can't remove, right? So like a lot of these like old cards like this, like Brave, this ain't never seeing play unless the meta we get with the new expansion is exceedingly slow and weak. They nerf a lot of these StarCraft cards, but at the moment, the fact that this meta is like mostly StarCraft. This past mini set was insane. It's like the most powerful mini set we've ever gotten. Almost every deck on ladder right now has mini set cards in it, and if it doesn't, it is just so much weaker than every other deck, right? So with getting back in some of these core set cards, they're not going to make a difference in the today's world's deck. Maybe a couple of them after like the rotation, because we are losing the oldest 3 expansions, and we've seen it. The sets, it's very weak. Decks are going to be very weak. But with how powerful StarCraft is, I am a little worried that those cards just like, they get even better basically, because if you really don't play them, then you're in big trouble. So we're gonna go ahead and move along. We got the Ravaging Ghoul with 3 mana, 3/3 battle cry, deal 1 damage to all of the minions, which is used to be very, very powerful. Now it doesn't even seem that exciting or powerful. We've got the 3 mana, 4/3 after your hero attacks, gain 4 more armor and draw a card. This seemed, I was always a big fan of the Hook Fist. I thought this card was so insane. It's a 3 mana, 4/3. It's a mech and it's a pirate. You gain 4 armor when you attack and you draw a card. I never like got a ton of use for it, and it ended up being like generally pretty bad. But I just think the card is so good. Like, that's such a powerful effect. I know a guy, discover a taunt minion and give it +1, +2. Always trying to push the taunt warrior. Oh, they're always trying to push the taunt warrior. All right, so for neutral cards, they made a point to say that they're trying to remove some of the annoying stuff, the charge stuff. I already see Leroy down over here is leaving, which is good. I fucking hate that card. All right, so take a lot of these neutrals don't even see play though. So leaving Deathwing, Malagos, Ysera, Onyxia, Alexstrasza, Baron, Zola, Sylvanas, Justicar. Leroy is probably the only one so far that actually sees play besides maybe like Zola in an ETC or something like that. Molten Giant, Mountain Giant, Sea Giant, Footman, Argus, Mind Control Tech. This is a big one. This is like, thought this card was so good for so long now, and yeah, it feels bad. You play minions, they get taken. It's not a good feeling. Very good though. Replicating Menace, Armor Vendor, Warsong Grunt. Thank God, Grunter Hunter. Jesus, that's the most brain dead fucking deck I've ever seen, dude. Like I don't know how they let Grunter Hunter live so long, and the fact that it still has like another month-ish or maybe more, it's quite terrible. Night Elf Huntress, never saw play. War Gear, Bronze Gatekeeper, Wand Maker, Deckhand, again, another charge minion. Buff Paladin, wasn't a fan of getting double Deckhand for 2 mana for like 25 damage. And Snow Flipper Penguin is at the very bottom. You can't see it. Cards that we're getting, Octopapa. All right, so this was a crazy card to get when you got it randomly generated off stuff, because it's a death rattle, draw 8 cards. A lot of times you create this, you don't have many cards left, you draw 8 cards, you overdraw important stuff, or you just take mill damage and you die. Chill Maul, 7 mana, 6/6 undead dragon. Interesting there. Death rattle, if you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all minions. It was kind of an interesting card back in the day. Sneed's Old Shredder, 7 mana, 5/7 mech, death rattle, summon a random legendary minion, kind of a hit or miss kind of thing. We have Karen at 6 mana, 5/5 taunt, summon a 5/5 Bloodhoof. For 6 mana, you're basically getting 10/10 in stats, and the first half has taunt. We have Cornelius, the 6 mana, 4/5. At the start and end of each player's turn, draw a card. This card was something back in the day. I'm not sure if that was good or bad, but it was something. Curator, 5 mana, 4/6, got buffed a little bit there. Taunt and Battle Cry, draw a beast, dragon, and Murloc. So it's 5 mana, draw 3 cards, and a 4/6 taunt mech. Again, I don't know how good these menagerie decks are gonna be, but maybe good. We got Finja, dude, a 5 mana, 3/5 Murloc. Stealth. Whenever this attacks and kills a minion, summon 2 Murlocs from your deck. It was actually like an insane card back in the day. A lot of Murloc decks playing Finja. And what was it, like Water Rogue, I think it was called. It was and then like you had anything can happen Paladin. What are the days, boys? Holy shit, the Black Knight, 4 mana, 4/4, tradable, battle cry, destroy an enemy minion with taunt. Somebody might be teching that card in because it has tradable and it's a 4 mana, 4/4 that goes 1 for 1 at least. Very nice. King Mukla. King Mukla is a 3 mana, give your opponent 2 bananas. Lore Walker Tro, that's disgusting. The Blowtorch Saboteur, the 3 mana, 3/3 battle cry, your opponent's next hero power costs 2 more. It's actually pretty good. I think this is going to be a pretty good tech card because hero powering at 2 more, it's going to be so annoying for your opponent. I mean, they got to spend 4 mana on a hero power to get it back to normal, and if you hit like a demon hunter, they got to spend 3 on it. So that's pretty good. The 10 mana, 10/10 runaway Blackwing, at the end of your turn, deal 10 damage to a random enemy minion. That was kind of just a big chunky boy. Steam Cleaner, boys. The Steam Cleaner is back. So this was a huge card for those of you who remembered when it rotated in. Whether you're talking about bombs or you're talking about plagues, there's just so many cards. This are sludges. The Steam Cleaner can do a lot of things, and it's a very interesting tech card. And let me tell you, if Steam Cleaner is a card that we are main decking, there's a problem with the meta. I'm just saying, while I do believe Steam Cleaner is an interesting card, and like I'm just saying, if we have to resort to playing this card in our deck because the meta is so much, That Steam Cleaner is our savior. The game's cooked. 2 mana, 2/3 Sun Fury Protector. Give adjacent minions taunt. It's been the same way a long time. The Forge Fiend, the 8 mana, 8/8 Mech Demon Taunt. Death Rattle, gain 8 armor. Infinite armor decks with Phylactery and Warlock and all that stuff was crazy. So, and the old Owl Warlock. Oh my god. Turn 6 OTKs. A Menagerie Jug, garbage. Mug, garbage. The Plume Phoenix went to a 4 mana 3/4 instead of a 3/3. Battlecry does 3. Interesting. The Historian used to be a 2 mana 1/3. Now it's a 2/3. Battlecry, if you're holding a dragon, discover a dragon. We have the Maze Guide, the 2 mana 1/1 Battlecry, summon a 2-cost minion. Prize Vendor, 2 mana 2/3 Murloc, Battlecry, and Death Rattle. Each player draws a card. Mildex, maybe. And then Wisp. So quite a few changes. With the core set, core cards are all free. Remember that. So all of these cards will just be in your collection on the right-hand side because we're losing the left. So you actually don't have to craft or do anything. You'll just have these cards as the core set. It's hard to say a direction here. I do believe that there's a few classes that got better cards than others, like looking at like Druid got some really good stuff. Paladin got some good stuff. Rogue got some good stuff. And then like Warrior got like meh. Warlock got meh. Mage got meh. Demon Hunter got meh. So it'll be interesting to see how things shake up. This new expansion, it's gotta, we gotta see. It's gonna be crazy Hearthstone. And when the new expansion drops and everything leaves and core set comes in, it's gonna be a crazy time. It's either gonna be some of the most fun Hearthstone we've ever had, or it's absolutely gonna be horrible Hearthstone. But most of the time, it's really good Hearthstone. So with that, looking forward as always. Catch you guys in the next video, of course. I'm Robert Warshack, and happy whatever the hell day it is.